I'm Mike the Man. Welcome to my channel. The case of Lily and Jack Sullivan is not solved, has not been solved yet. And I have only one statement from the mother. Of course, if you guys have anything that you can bring to my attention, it would be wonderful. And one of the things that has just been pointed out was what I was about to get to. This part, this end part of the statement given by Malehya. I spent a lot of time on the previous part, so if you guys want to know where all of that led and what all of this indicated, watch my last two videos. It is all there, and I've taken a lot of time to go through every single statement, every sentence spoken, which it is not about the volume in statement analysis. It's not about how many sentences one speaks. And I think we can all agree that when it comes to Chrisfoot on Granny's Watching, which I suffered through, and I mean, how much of a 2 hour segment was useful? Maybe 2 minutes worth, but the only thing that the analysis did, was really verify what we've spoken about before. And by the way, those of you who have been watching my channel, there was a question about whether or not Chrisfoot had ever responded to the claims that he tore down some posters. I played the audio on one of my past videos. I am not able to find it right now, mostly because I am moving forward. And I have previously concluded anyways, now it's time for law enforcement to move on, to move forward in the case of Sebastian Rogers. And it's time for Seth Rogers to get himself a lawyer and fire Tony Mattis, or put him in his place, and put some pressure on law enforcement. Otherwise, I suggest boycotting the whole case, simply because I am convinced that Sebastian Rogers is already deceased. All we're going to see now is a lot of people making a lot of money off of the brand Sebastian. And they will milk this, and they will make money, and nothing is going to come out of this case for many, many decades. Maybe never. So if you're a neighbor of the Bauer success and you never deleted your camera footage and you got something, please contact me. And don't tell anybody you contacted me. Thank you. So now, back to the kids in Canada. This case is ongoing. This case is important. And now I'm going to go back to Mrs. Plunder and her video.
But she does have photo of the two kids. The 6-year-old is the girl at the.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to play the first 10 or 15 minutes with my interruptions, and I have highlighted already what I'm going to speak about. I'm going to add a little bit more to my whiteboard here, but I will let this come naturally to me because I'm not only going to listen to her statement again, I'm also going to listen to Daniel's statement, one of them that I hadn't become aware of until yesterday. Oh, I totally forgot. Lauren from Facebook made an excellent post highlighting what leakage is. And I want to talk about leakage a little bit. Leakage comes from experiential memory. And when there is leakage, you're telling a story, you're telling a lie, but the truth keeps sneaking in. A major part of leakage is embedded confession. For example, John Ramsey, he said the police theory is that, and after that, he gives his embedded confession and tells us exactly what happened to John Benet Ramsey. Then he says Burke hit his sister and killed her, and that we, in order to cover it up, uh, came up with that strangulation, ransom note craziness, something like that. This is an embedded confession. Madeleine McCain, Jerry McCain gave an embedded confession. It is on Richard D. Hall interviews Peter Hyatt. It is a prime example of early teaching and statement analysis where we follow the language and allow the subject to guide us towards the truth. And do they ever? So now I'm going to play to you something from Mrs. Susan Smith, who killed her two children. And I think what I'm going to first do is play the confession part. Still strapped in their car seats. Police had already released part of Smith's handwritten confession. Today, they released it all. In it, Smith says she was despondent because she was in love with a man who didn't love her. I was very emotionally distraught, she wrote. I felt I couldn't be a good mom anymore, but I didn't want my children to grow up without a mom. I felt I had to end our lives to protect us from any grief or harm. I wanted to end my life so bad and was in that car ready to go down that ramp into the water. And I did go part way, but I stopped. I went again and stopped. I then got out of the car and stood by the car a nervous wreck. I dropped to the lowest point when I allowed my children to go down that ramp into the water without me. I took off running and screaming, oh God, no. What have I done? Why did you let this happen? I wanted to turn around so bad and go back, but I knew it was too late. Because they were in their car seats. Now look at this. She claimed the man took the children. Now listen to what she said. Was there anything about the demeanor of the man that gives you concern?
No, in fact, when he made me get out of the car, I tried to get my children. I, just begged him, please let me take them. And he said no, he didn't have time because they were in car seats and it was going to take time for me to get them out of the car seat. And he just told me, he said, but I won't hurt them. And he just took off.
Was there anything about the demeanor of the man that gives you concern?
No, in fact, when he made me get out of the car, I tried to get my children. I, just begged him, please let me take them. And he said no, he didn't have time because they were in car seats and it was going to take time for me to get them out of the car seat. And he just told me, he said, but I won't hurt them. And he just took off.
Okay, so replace that man with the water, the force of water. She was thinking about the force of water when she concocted that story about a man taking her children. And there was no time to get them out of their car seats and go down into the water. I don't remember exactly how deep the kids went down, but she said, yeah, by the time that she thought about it, she already, it would have been already too late, something like that. And so she tells herself everything is going to be all right. And that's basically what comes from that leakage. That leakage in the story about a man who supposedly took her child. We always leak the truth in our statements. That is what we are looking for. We are looking for any type of leakage. And there is quite a bit from the mother of Lily and Jack. So let me continue with Plunder until she gets to that point.
And she's wearing pink. The 4-year-old is wearing some blue dinosaur boots. So, yeah, I think that's all we kind of have right now. The drone operator is still on scene with the mom, so Make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
So we've got this troubling case.
So in the very beginning, of course, they said mom has to stay close to the house. At that time, sure, in Canada they treat every missing persons case as a potential crime, and that's wonderful. But of course, they're also exploring the possibility that there was in fact a runaway, which it wasn't. But here we have a very good example of how they attack something from every single angle. Simultaneously, they look at all the possibilities, and whatever sticks, they're going to continue going with. And whenever something is making no sense, they abandon that part of the search. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should have been done on the case where we wasted so much time and energy. But we don't know what will happen. We follow the signals of truth. We follow the language where people tell us the truth. And we follow that. We don't get swayed by people arguing about opinions. What we do is continue to look at what leakage is actually guiding us towards. And this is exactly where we're going to stick around. The pain and sorrow part will be huge. And one of you just pointed it out to me so very well. But it's not the only huge part, people. So let me get there right now, little by little. Oh, I love your comments, guys. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay.
Get back in the house.
So we've got this troubling case out of Nova Scotia, and I was up all hours of the night during research and just trying to dig through all this dispatch audio, hours and hours and hours worth of dispatch audio out of Canada. It's regarding the two missing...
But I actually love doing it, or let me rather say, I can't stand not knowing something when I know the answers are right in front of me. So if I know the answers are somewhere in this damn puzzle that is right there, I cannot not do it. And I'm so happy these days that I have the possibility to do it, because when I was a child, it was just unsolved mysteries. Ooh, unsolved mysteries. And then they had UFO stuff in there too. They had all kind of crap in there just to keep you watching, but never allow you to figure out what actually happened. And when you wanted to get more answers, people would tell you, you think too much, dude. Now I have the opportunity to research. I have access. And more than anything, I realize there are people like me who are just the same way. And I absolutely love it. So I'm deleting comments, by the way, from people who try to sidetrack. People who purposefully try to sidetrack and derail the process of learning for people. So when it comes to trolling, please, moderators, please, if you sense that something has the intention, for example, the big one is people suggesting that Seth had something to do with the disappearance of Sebastian. No, he didn't. You have to be real stupid to think that. After all of the evidence had come in, after everything, if you see a comment like this, well, where was Seth? He was at work. If you see anything stupid like this, Julia, also you, I'm telling you, if it annoys you, use your judgment, because the flow of information is the only thing that is important. I know how I act when I am on somebody else's channel and leave a comment. So think about that. Would you leave the types of comments? Don't tolerate with others what you wouldn't tolerate within yourself. So stand up for me, stand up for yourself, stand up for the case, and most of all of our listeners who deserve a safe place to discuss, even so-called rumors, but rumor is actually a very negative term that I will not use again. Speculations, yes. Theories, yes. Speculations are welcome. In every criminal case, speculations are what can lead us towards the truth. But the only problem is when some people who are not that bright have a speculation and that's it. They stop. They stick with that speculation and they defend it and they don't abandon it. And they will argue, that's my opinion. I have a right for my opinion. You don't have a right to air your opinion everywhere. That's just not how it works. You can do that on some of these stupid channels. That's how they make their money. They make their money by keeping people arguing in their chats. You can go there, but don't bring this crap over here. If you step in dog shit and you want to come in my house, first you take off your shoes. You don't bring this crap over here. So the one thing that I love the most about my channel is the fact that I see you guys communicating and it gets to the point to where I am finding the greatest tips where to look on my own channel in the comment section, not on X, which is a cesspool now of people just using the Sebastian Rogers case to talk about their own lives. So please, by all means, start your self-help channels about women surviving narcissists. Do that, but don't use Sebastian's name and then have only 3% content related to Sebastian. That makes absolutely no sense. Having said this, now I'm going to move right into this case little by little, but I felt like after having spent so much time on Sebastian Rogers, I need to bridge this because this is highly bridgeable. We see so many similarities, and I believe that this case, actually solving this case, will get us a lot closer to what happened to Sebastian Rogers, which I believe I already know. Many of you already know, but it needs to go mainstream. So boycott AMW, Netflix, whatever, unless Seth decides to get a lawyer, gets rid of Tony Mattis, and takes it seriously and pushes for his right to find out what happened to his son Sebastian.
It's regarding the two missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan. I've heard some pretty interesting things over the dispatch from Friday, May 2nd. That's the day that the children were reported missing. So I wanted to dig and see what I could find. So far, the most interesting thing is that one of the authorities is telling another, the dispatcher is saying, make sure the mom stays close to the house.
Make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and
Like I said, they thought that maybe the kids would come back. Maybe they just walked off because they didn't realize that Friday wasn't the day when they got missing.
get back into the house.
Make sure the mom stays close to the house, and that's exactly what did not happen, and I'm wondering why. So, Lily and Jack Sullivan were last seen on Friday, May 2nd, 2025, so it's been 6 days. Today is Wednesday, May 7th, and that's kind of scary to think about. Young children being missing this long. So now they're trying to put the pieces together on Friday morning. I've heard so many conflicting...
They were never missing. They were gotten rid of people. And the parents, and both, not the parents, but the mother and her partner both know exactly what happened to them.
Reports. As you'll hear, or you might have just heard, one dispatcher is saying they were last seen at 8 a.m.
Then the veterans made a call this morning and they haven't been seen since then. I need to get a good statement and figure stuff out.
Help.
Call from again. Can you copy there? I think your portal's responding. From again. Can you copy there? I think
By the way, the channel is Plunder.
portal's responding. Was that you I heard on here that was going to do a search of the residence again?
Audio.
Yeah, Yeah, that's what he was saying. They were going to do the property and the residence again. Cover that. Property and the residence again. Copy. Just for everyone's awareness, based on the profile, the children could have traveled at least 6 kilometers. So keep that in mind.
They could have traveled at least 6 kilometers? Really? How? A 4-year-old? Wait, when my daughter was 4, I couldn't even get her to... No. Come on, dude. Unless they've been transported.
Sergeant Young, for your awareness there, media release.
I think it's about 4 miles. A little less than 4 miles, right? 6 kilometers.
Has been put out in a non-intrusive alert to set up Victor Gavin. Perfect, thank you.
Maybe like 3.8, I'm guessing.
At 8 o'clock a.m. that morning, I've heard that reported twice throughout this dispatch, Friday, May 2nd. But then trying to piece together other reports claim the children were last seen at 10 a.m. I don't know where the confusion is coming in, but this happened at the...
Well, guess what? It wasn't 8 a.m., it wasn't 10 a.m. Maybe they tried to tell us a story in the beginning because 8 a.m. they were supposed to go to school or supposed to check on... No, there would have been a lot... No, that story is complete BS. So, doesn't matter if they said 8 or 10. Makes no difference, people.
The home of these two people you're about to meet. You're going to see their interviews, the mom and the stepdad, who really isn't a stepdad. The mom calls him her partner.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home.
So, some of you have stated that it's possible that she may have given the kids to somebody, and that is her way to appeal to this particular person or these particular people and signal to them that she had changed her mind about them having her children. As I've summarized in my previous video, until I'm going to get more statements from her, or the right types of statements from her partner, not just him telling us he was knee deep in water and screaming as loud as he could, talking about now what, with a focus on him being so stressed and so on and so on. I need more statements from Malehya, people. I need something more from her, because either this the direction I'm leaning right now, either they gave the children to somebody, possibly as, I call it a collateral for drugs, but in reality it wouldn't have been a collateral. So whoever said, no, but drug dealers don't take children, they're a burden. Well, the drug dealers wouldn't tell the truth. They would say, oh, I will take the kids and I give them back to you whenever you pay me for the drugs that I'm fronting you to make some deal, to make sales. And of course, what they did, these people, they don't honor deals. They probably saw the children and thought, well, on the black market, I can get some money for them for trafficking. That's how people like that think in this environment. You invite a bunch of lowlifes into your house to do drugs with you. That's what you're gonna get, and a couple of them will be the bigger guys who make who make money with that. They're selling it, and they make money with whatever illegal, immoral stuff that they can possibly find, which includes selling children. When those types of people see, that's why they say don't bring those types of people around your house. Look at the Elizabeth Smart case. They gave a homeless guy the chance to work on their house, and he spotted the daughter and then abducted her. Be very careful whom you allow around your children, people. Extremely careful. Yes, most of us are looking at them like they seem like extremely sweet kids, but that's not necessarily what everybody looks at them like. Some of them look at them through the eyes of cash. These kids can get me some money. There are many pedophiles out there. They will look at these children in a very different manner. And this is what you're inviting into your house when you have the worst of the worst coming together. They see nothing of value in your house. They see nothing of value in you. They know you have money problems. They may not say, I give you some money for your kids. They may say, hey, you need to get on your feet, man. I can get you an whatever, $10,000 worth of drugs or whatever. I don't know what amounts they were dealing with, allegedly. But that's exactly what may have gone down. And this is my speculation compared to several other cases and what actually would align with the statements I am getting here. Somebody said, hey, you work only one shift a week, you got 3 children to take care of, and your wife doesn't work, or your partner, she doesn't work. Damn, how you make ends meet. I tell you what, I find you some drugs, but to make sure you don't screw me over, I'm gonna keep the kids. Just until you got the money to pay us back. And then they disappeared when they had the kids. That's a possibility, people. What I'm looking for is reasonable speculations, and speculations will continue until we narrow down on one. And the other possibility, of course, is the kids could have died. Something could have happened at this party, gone out of control. Maybe somebody abused them, maybe, who knows? But what speaks for that, he is about to tell us with the silence, I think.
Well, as possible. I want them home.
So she may talk to these people and say, I changed my mind. I want to hold them. I want them home. I want them home. Please bring them back to me.
Hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them.
Again, when a sentence doesn't make sense, you go back to the beginning and write it down until it stops making sense. And then you see where she was going to go with that initially.
Watching them, and they happened to just get out that sliding door.
Happened to just. No, they didn't. No. They didn't just happen to go out there. Somebody took them out there.
And we can't hear it when it opens.
Now she's going into present tense. That means the script is kicking in. But it's also very general. And I would love to test this door. I bet you it's really loud.
And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware.
And they're always playing, right? All of these suspicious characters, all of these people whose children wind up missing, they were always playing right before. You know, Sebastian in his room, Summer, these kids always playing. Always having a great time, right? Everything was good. They were having a good time. They were happy kids playing. Always. Wasn't even necessary to say that. could just say they were outside. How did you know they were playing? We didn't know that at the time. How would you know now? Because you want to portray something to us.
Of it at the time, and
you didn't know it at the time. So how the hell you know now that they were playing if you were in this drug-induced sleep or coming off of something? How the hell did you know they were actually playing? You didn't know it. You just told us. You see, you could argue and say, well, if she was drifting in and out of sleep, which is exactly what she wants to, she wants to sell us on this narrative that some things she noticed and some things she didn't. So that is a very good way to become very selective in your knowledge. Oh, I was asleep at that point. I didn't even know. Oh, no, no, no. This part I can verify because I was actually awake for like 20 seconds. But in this case, she actually told us we were not aware of it at the time. She is leaking constantly. The same with the possibility, with her possibility of an abduction. She's telling us there was no abduction. There could have been a handover, yes, but there wasn't an abduction. And it wasn't anyone or everyone. It was somebody that she knew and was familiar with if this took place. Leakage people leak no matter how much they lie, how well they lie.
the next thing we knew, it was quiet.
When somebody says the next thing we knew, on purpose they are skipping a significant event, and this is the one part that worries me. Next thing we knew, the room, it was quiet. Something extreme happened for that room to be quiet. And this part is more likely to lead me towards the kids being deceased. That or something extremely extreme happened, after which the children were no longer there, and the silence was deafening. Time will tell, people, but these are the two possibilities. They died or they were taken. And in this case, what I like about the Plunder channel, she is not trying to sell me on any theory or any speculation. She's not doing that. She's throwing it all out. And this is the type of people that we need to support and stick with. The types of channels that you think are Team Green, Team Sebastian, Team Seth, or whatever on YouTube, skip them. They're not going to do anything in terms of helping you figure anything out. And of course, they're jumping on this case now. The rats are leaving the sinking ship. A channel like Plunder, who actually spends all night, spends $200 to not a huge amount of money, but she's at least, she's like, here, how much? I want the audio, $200, yeah. You gotta put some effort into things, dude, in order to earn your presence, in my opinion. So, here we go. This would indicate that the kids died. There was silence. And yes, these are two conflicting statements. So maybe they died and the dead bodies were transported. And if initially I, was looking at the footprints, thinking maybe one child was carried, maybe the other one walked, was held by the hand, taken into a vehicle. All possible, but not necessarily. Because if the footprints were right outside the yard, the kids could have left them any time. You know what I mean? So it is possible they died in the room and they were taken out through the sliding door by somebody. But again, I want to hold them. I want them home. Is she referring to their dead bodies? Or Have they been given to somebody? And she's signaling this person, please bring me my children. You probably sold them by now. Maybe they came to their senses after their drug-induced sleep and said, oh my God, this guy's probably a child trafficker and my children, and this is all, now we, all of this is possible. But yeah, her saying that the room went quiet, that is a big one. No sign of life, hope, or any of that. Let's listen more, people. I need more from her.
Like, it was quiet, and we get up, and I tell him, my partner,
I tell him, not I ask him, I tell him.
Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids?
And that is exactly what happened, that they tell each other what to say. They are coming up with a script, and they probably had around 24 hours or more time to come up with that script. Maybe participate in getting rid of the bodies, don't know yet. But they came up for sure, and they took their time, and they probably made a pact that no matter what, we will not tell on each other, no matter what police is trying to say, because they will probably say, hey, your partner just told us it was all your idea, and so on and so on. People in these drug circles, they know the tricks of police. And they probably came up, I'm thinking, with some sort of agreement. We will never tell on each other, because if one goes down, the other goes down. And we're never going to see our 16-month-old child again that we have together. So it is very much like in the in the John Benet Ramsey case. After Burke did what he did, the parents, John Benet was gone. She died. They protected Burke. And Patsy made a statement like, if my other child, if something happens, she will just go insane. Summer Wells, after she, and I know she died, by the way, the concern were the other kids in CPS. They didn't want to lose the other children. And even if it could have been just an accident or negligent, I made a long video about this, so you guys can watch this if you're interested. They knew that the conditions under which the children lived, oh my God, they had to take these kids. And a jury would have, they would have, they hate parents like that. Juries hate parents who are negligent. Even if they didn't do it, even if they didn't murder a child, they may still convict for at least something very significant, if not murder, because maybe they feel like your lifestyle and the way that you are contributed to it. That's how a lot of perception is everything, people. So Candace started lying, but she also wanted to make sure her kids, who thankfully have been taken now, I don't know if they're in a much better situation now, but what choice was there? Especially when that idiot allowed Chris McDonough to go into her home and film some of this stuff. By the way, Chris McDonough, I wouldn't take any of his analyses seriously, but he gets some really good interviews. Because he has a way with these types of people. He has a way, he buys them a pizza and talks about jokes, makes self-deprecating jokes, and they fall for it and they tell him everything. Of course, later, Don West would call him and say, hey, what did you say about, I don't appreciate what you do. But these types of people fall for this kind of primitive approach of just ingratiation. But don't take seriously his so-called analyses, also not of the people that he invites on there, because they are dragging things out without getting close to anything, and misleading also, especially in the John Benet Ramsey case. If not, be very careful with what you allow yourself to be subjected to. That's what I like about this Plunder channel, because she doesn't do that. She throws out speculations, she throws out theories, possibilities, but everything is backed up by facts. And if you look at her description, all of the Facebook channels of the people that she's referencing, that is somebody who's actually making an effort. And that is exactly what we need. So let me continue, people.
He says no, and we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere.
When she says instantly, it means it took a long damn time, as in 24 hours or more.
We're yelling for them, and I instantly just call 911.
Instantly just called 911. No, they didn't go missing that Friday. You see? She's trying to cover up. It's not necessary to say, I instantly called 911. I called 911. Well, my kids were not there. For 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I ran around the house. I looked around the house. I yelled their name. You don't say, oh, I was so hysterical and I was crying and I was screaming. No, 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 no. That's overselling. What you will say, I woke up and I couldn't hear my children. I went into the room and didn't see them there. So I went around the house, inside of the house. I looked through the different rooms. I went outside the yard. I walked around. I walked all the way down to the street. I called their name several times. There was no answer. I ran back to the house and called 911. That would be an accurate, reliable statement. Expected. Just telling us what happened. You don't need to say, I don't know what happened. That already is a given. When you say, I got up and eventually I called the police after looking. You don't say, I looked everywhere. That's not a part of your thinking process. That is the final. That's what a police officer may write in a report. What did you do? I looked everywhere. But you see, that is their job. And their job is done when their job is done. Some take it home in their minds, of course, but they also have their own families and they shut off. And when their work is done, they go home to their own families and say, wow, okay, tomorrow I hope I find these kids tomorrow. But they're kind of shutting off their minds. But as a parent, your mind will never shut off. You haven't looked everywhere or anywhere. You want to know, where else can I look? What could I have missed? This is a part of your process. But did you hear what I just said? What would be expected? And then you see the difference. In the beginning, they say, we woke up, we are in and out of sleep. They give themselves this alibi of sleep or dizziness. How they could have missed something. And he will oversell and tell us in a few minutes, how much he screamed and how he lost his, you don't do this crap. You don't do that. I got up and I didn't hear my kids, so I went into the room. They were not there. I went through the whole house and then into the yard and ran around went around the yard several times. I looked behind the shack, in the shack. I looked wherever I thought they could have been. And then I went outside of the yard. I went down the street a little bit. I talked to my neighbors. I yelled their names. And then I ran back to the house to call 911. That would be a reliable thing. Not I screamed so loud, I lost my voice. Katie Proudfoot. I was hysterical. I was screaming. I was crying. That's when Chris Foot said, when he coughed, because he had no guile. You know what I mean? He didn't know how to maybe come up with a finger tap or with something more subtle, but that's the black and white kind of guy. Because Katie Foot went overboard. But she's learned through my channel. Hi, Katie. Get out of here. And now we have this case which is fresh. And we have a chance to help solve this. But it's different in Canada, people. It's very different. You cannot easily get the records of the interrogation or any of that. It is all sealed, man. It's not like in the States where you have the Freedom of Information Act and can easily obtain anything that's really public. So I don't know what this will be very different. I have to go by only what I have to go by and re-listen again and again, because otherwise it is very dangerous. You can easily go down the trap of fabrications, not your own, but other people's fabrications, which can lead you far away. So it's better to say, this is what I know, and that's it. But what I know, I know.
One is I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both.
You're explaining to me why you called 911. I just had the instinct. Duh, your kids are missing. Wow, you're a great mother. You had a motherly instinct to call. That even this part shows us she is hiding something, and she's trying too hard to convince us that she is a loving and caring mother. That shows us that many, many, many times she was anything but. She feels the need to portray herself as something. And in the case where your children are missing, you don't give a crap what people think about you at all. You don't give a crap if people say, maybe, her behavior, you even acknowledge it and say, okay, yes, I screwed up, but now I want my kids. I don't care. Especially not like Daniel Martel talking about the polygraph, who says, yeah, some people online who make crazy accusations. First of all, don't tell me accusations are crazy. Tell me they are false. That's what I want to hear from you, but you didn't say that. And why are you worried about people online? You find these children, everything, the truth comes out, they will eat their words. But no, you're worried. Same way like Chris Foot. Chris Foot, where should we look for Sebastian? He said, well, if I tell you, and if you found him there, then you guys had something to do with it. Dude, to do with what? You will be the hero if you tell us, look in Clarksville in this one area, and you find Sebastian. And Sebastian's alive, and they ask him, so what happened? And did Chris Foot do something to you? No, he didn't. Okay, good. He's a hero now. He's telling us Sebastian something horrible happened to him, and he was somehow a part of it. That's how blatant the Foot is. So let's go back to this lady.
It's really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store.
She's saying it again. They talk to anyone. They speak to anyone in the store. Everyone. Everyone could have taken these kids. Everyone. And that tells me she's thinking about either just one person or just a couple or a small group of people. Because she wants this Amber Alert. But she doesn't want to tell us why and whom we need to look at.
They're just extremely.
So if the children are still alive, I'm expecting a huge bust of a long list of people. But again, I said it before, the room was quiet, and that is something that sounds a little bit final. And now she's about to say something even worse.
Kids, I appreciate the huge surf.
As a neurologist, I highly discourage
Shut
the
up.
use of simple and monotonous games for mental stimulation.
I don't need your mental.
I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now.
What did she say, surf?
But
The huge surf. Surf. She said actually surf, according to... Is she a surfer? Are the children in water? They're soaking wet, drifting. Have their bodies been put into water? Is there a creek nearby? I heard there is. Well, this could be something, because she said, I appreciate the huge surf search effort. We want to make a mental note in these types of cases because we have to listen for more leakage and see if she brings up surfing, water, waves, or any of that type of stuff again. If she brings up more similar language in order to guide us. Again, normally I have a ton of statements and have to decide which one I pick and use my intuition sort of in terms of, okay, scanning, okay, bam, I know which one. That's how it normally works. But in this case, I only got this one from this woman. And it's kind of cool in a way that I'm forced to get the most out of this one rather than looking for something where she had more leakage. So this is a wonderful training tool, actually. Let's see.
on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing.
Right. You want an Amber Alert because... No. That's not how it works. And she's withholding information. Because she's telling us she's trying to sell it as a possibility. She doesn't say, I think this is what happened, this must have happened, I think it must have happened because otherwise where would my kids be? No. Just like Melissa Proudfoot selling Katie's script. Sebastian went into the back of the car. The person got in without seeing Sebastian through the whole ride. They didn't notice there was a kid behind. He didn't wake up, made no sound. And then the person got to work more than 10 miles away from the house, outside the 10-mile radius. And Sebastian wound up walking out of the car. The message is, don't look within the 10 miles. And then at the end she says, it's possible. I know it sounds crazy, but it's possible. Just think about the possibility. It didn't happen. She doesn't think it happened. She actually knows it didn't happen. But she wants you to think about this type of possibility. She wants your mind to go there and push for this Amber Alert. But police, they probably looked at, I don't know what all they looked at, but they don't see a reason to do that. And there may be a good reason for that. They probably realize the answer to what happened to these children is right inside of that damn house or camper of them, or trailer. That's where the answers lie. Not out there in the streets, not out there with everyone in the store. The answers are with Daniel and Malehya. And now, here's something that she says that's very, very final, people.
We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice.
Remember Chris Foot? There are still people who don't know Sebastian is missing in my area. How? He was like, how? You know, I don't want to be in front of the camera right now, but I'm tempted almost to do this Chris Foot imitation, man. My physical imitation. How? So, a lot of people don't know it, but you're on damn TV right now. You are speaking on national TV. Why the Amber Alert? Do you want to make it official that you had nothing to do with it? Or that there could... Amber Alerts, I think, I'm sure there are exceptions, as there are always everywhere, but I'm thinking the Amber Alert is just for, verified abductions, right? But of course, yes, there are exceptions, I'm sure. And Sebastian, there was an Amber Alert there. Maybe based on misinformation. But then again, that law enforcement, there was just, and I called it first, people. I said there will never be any answers. Because I analyzed the language of Eric Craddock, trying to put people at ease, but leaking that not a damn thing is going to be happening. Not from their end. So, back to this.
Saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice.
So what? Somebody let them know. Enough people know about it. It's spreading.
Everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain.
She's telling us what didn't happen. What did happen? Where is the positive mindset? You're telling us everything that didn't pan out. What is your theory? What do you think? Are you going to call out directly to potential abductors? Are you calling out to the public? Are you calling out? No, none of that. Everything is so final and gloomy. Because the positive thought of having your child back will not allow you to be gloomy. Even though the pain and the worry is right there. And listen to this.
It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm
From the rain or from being in a river somewhere?
hopeful that they are feeling warm.
Somebody said, bringing the dead back to life, feeling warm, coming back from the dead.
We're all filled with pain and sorrow.
And that's the one, people. Pain and sorrow. When do you feel pain and sorrow? When you have no more power, when something is final, right? And one of you, oh my God, I have to look up your name later and give you credit. She should say, what should she say? We are filled with... That's what she should say. Fears and worry. Exactly, 100%. Thank you for this comment. That's why I'm saying, moderators, anything that is BS in the comment section, use your judgment, do what is best for our channel. Get them out of there. Because otherwise, I am not going to be able to see valuable comments like these. And there's not going to be a real flow of communication. And I'm suggesting, I'm thinking it gets less as the Sebastian case. I will spend more time on this and other cases maybe. We will see. But please, moderators, don't just do what you would do if this was your channel. If you had your own, what you would do on your X account or wherever you are, do what you would do there. You don't, I trust your judgment. Now, let's close this up. Let's come to an end here.
in sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home.
She has to explain why she feels pain and sorrow. Because we just want them found. We want them home. You don't need to explain this. This is unnecessary. Everything unnecessary needs to be marked. And again, all of these things I'm saying now, having to go by one statement may not be enough, but it will benefit us in the future because we are going to see more statements. And then we can recognize certain patterns and pinpoint, abandon one theory, and move along with the other if the path is straight and full of light and full of signals. If that's green light, we go. The moment we see yellow or red, we stop and say, okay, maybe this wasn't it. Doesn't matter if it's our favorite theory. I don't actually have a favorite theory ever. I just want to know. I want to know. That's why I'm immune to these stupid channels who just throw out garbage and make things up just to get people to watch. And again, I blame actually the followers of these channels more than the people who are doing it, the enablers. You know what I mean?
Pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them.
We just want them. Just is not okay, people. Listen, it's already been an hour. I'm going to publish another video later. I'm going to end this right now. I thank you for watching. Please keep your comments going. Alert me when there are any types of news about this case. Anything new, anything you think I may have overlooked. Trust me, I will get to Daniel again. I will get to Daniel very, very soon because there's a lot of leakage. But again, we need to find out exactly what happened to Lily and Jack Sullivan.